Thank you, Rob, for the opportunity to be here today, and also Daryl for extending the invitation. Bobby Clark and I work together on a lot of things. I look around the room. First of all, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I like to make sure people are engaged and involved in the conversation and certainly understand and hear what we're here to talk about today. And as I look around the room, I see lots of friends and colleagues and community collaborators, and I hope that we're all still that way after this presentation. No, not at all. So really the work that we do at Harshaw Trane, we really focus on energy efficiency. That is the angle that I'm asked to bring for this particular presentation. And so definitely want to start out talking a little bit about who we are. We are an energy services company. We are an ESCO, as many people probably know of in that terminology. But we're a Kentucky-based company. We're headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky. And Harshaw Trane is the franchise office of Ingersoll Rand and Trane. It's hard to stop a train. But Frank Harshaw owns the franchise, okay? So as you can see, we're located primarily in Kentucky, but we do serve some areas of southern Indiana. You can see the backgrounds of the individuals on our team, and that's important. You want to make sure that you're partnering with a company to help you deliver energy savings and energy efficiency that has the skills, competency, and ability to make good on it long term. So let's talk a little bit about our philosophy. For us, we believe in earning customers for life. This is kind of a unique position for us as well as a company. We are positioned in such a way that our company also works at the beginning of a business or a building with architects, engineers, design drawings, mechanical equipment, and HVAC equipment, right? So that's that first part, that blue section, design and construction. Once you've been in the building for a while, anywhere from 1 year to 15 to 20 years, there'll be series along the way where you'll need to have parts and replacement and service. Our company is positioned to do that as well. And then the area in which I operate is in the energy services business. So our energy services team, we basically focus on 5 primary verticals. And obviously we say that because we do have a residential side to our business, but the work that we do on our energy services business does not quite get to the residential level yet. So healthcare is one of our primary markets, K-12 schools. Local government is basically the market in which I operate, and you'll see a little bit more discussion going forward. I appreciate the questions about, what are we doing for local governments on energy efficiency, and you'll see some of that here. Fort Knox. I paused there because that's really where we've done a significant amount of work. Nolan has been mentioned, and we were the company that partnered with Nolan to deliver energy savings for Fort Knox. Over the course of, since 2001, somewhere in that neighborhood, we have driven the energy intensity and usage in that base down by 50%. And we've done that through a series of energy efficiency programs, but you'll also see a little bit about how we sustain those. It's one thing to just replace equipment with more efficient equipment. How do you sustain it? And how do you make sure that it continues to stay that way? The other thing I'll mention is we've talked a lot about CHP, combined heat and power, distributed generation. We were the company that did a distributed generation project for Fort Knox. Right now, it was about a $65 million project. Right now, there's a 44 megawatt capability, 8 megawatts are running, primarily peak shaving, but the facility has, and if there's a situation of an emergency, it was really to make sure that we didn't have to deal with any kind of attacks. The ice storm was a great teacher. They really did not like the impact of the ice storm, and so that gave us the opportunity to focus on how do we make sure this facility continues to run nonstop so it can be completely detached from the grid in the event of emergency, okay? And also we've done solar array. We were one of the earlier ones to do a large solar array, and that was done at Fort Knox. So they've been a great learning tool for us, a great training ground for us. But we've taken that technology and that approach to other areas. We mentioned that there is in Owen Electric, there's a distributed generation facility. We did that project as well. So we've been kind of on the front end on a lot of these technology applications here in Kentucky because we recognize it's important to be able to be energy efficient and stay that way. We know it's only going to get tougher here in Kentucky because obviously rates are going to continue to go up, costs are going to continue to increase. How do we play our part to help those in Kentucky stay energy efficient? And then we also work with the industrial market. So performance contracts is basically the vehicle that we've talked about. That term has been mentioned earlier today. And so that is essentially the vehicle that I'm going to primarily discuss today, mainly because it provides a comprehensive program to allow you to make energy efficiency upgrades and pay for it by the savings that you generate from it. In addition to that, it has a statutorily required measurement and verification program, which says you have to maintain those savings, and we have to prove each year that we're meeting or exceeding the energy requirements that we've identified as savings. If we don't, we write the check for the difference. So we're highly motivated to make sure that they take place. We also employ real-time energy monitoring with all of our performance contracts, primarily those that are larger buildings, so much easier to justify doing that. But again, it's to try to make sure that we maintain those energy savings that we're able to drive. One thing here that I do need to mention, we know that it's an exciting time right now in the energy business, right? There are a lot of people focused and trying to get involved in this marketplace. This is one of those things where we say, make sure that you're dealing with somebody who's reputable, somebody who is NAESCO accredited, National Association of Energy Services Companies, because that says not only do you have the technical capability to deliver on energy savings project, but you have the financial wherewithal to make good on a guarantee that may go out 10, 15, 20 years, okay? I've run into people on some of these projects that have indicated they're just trying it out. Well, what if somebody contracts with them and they're not there when it's time to make good on the savings? So let's just take a look at this one building and position. Think of this building for any of the markets that deals with buildings for us. We have building solution expertise in mechanical system optimization, boilers, chillers, HVAC units that are on the rooftops. We also do building envelope improvements in these performance contracts. Windows, roofs, doors, okay? Energy management systems. Once again, once we've got the equipment updated, more efficient, operating appropriately, how do we make sure we manage how the energy is being used in that facility so it stays optimized? Lighting and electrical systems upgrades. This is one of the things that's really been a great advent for a lot of us. We all know about LED bulbs. Many of us have bought them and placed them in our homes. But the energy efficiency gained by lighting improvements has been significant. And one thing we believe in very seriously is that you take those quote unquote low-hanging fruit opportunities of lighting savings and leverage that against those harder to pay for items like HVAC, windows, roofs, okay? Operating cost optimization. Once you've done all of the work to get the building energy efficient, operating well, and you're managing it, now you're driving operational cost savings and you're starting to determine what's the best way to operate this building so that it stays energy efficient. And then with our partner, we purchased Fellow McCord Associates, who does a lot of upstream of secure of natural gas and electricity. They're part of the Trane Building Advantage program. And so we can do energy purchase options as well upstream of the meter. Support services, intelligence services, and training. Again, once you've got everything where it needs to be, what are those support services like measurement and verification? Consultations, quarterly consultations with our clients to say, here's what we're seeing and how the buildings are operating. Here are the things you can do better for next quarter. Again, focused on trying to A, make sure we meet the guarantee that we get the savings that we really drive for, but B, more importantly, that they continue to operate the building the way that it should be, that it's meant to be operated. And then of course we train the individuals who work in the buildings. So now I'm going to step into some of the things, and I'll go fairly quickly, that we do for local governments. Again, all the other verticals that I've talked about, you could picture all of that with the picture of the building I just showed. Now these are kind of focused on our local governments. I'm involved in projects that involve water meter replacement. We've talked about AMR, AMI, technology, drive-by and fixed-based. So this gives us an opportunity now to get more accurate reads. All of these things are realized by making the change to AMR, AMI systems. And oftentimes, the improvement in the meter technology allows you to pay for the improvements that are done in the systems. I know Columbia Gas does AMR already, and so that's a good thing. There are a lot of other municipals in the state that aren't quite where you all are. We're helping them to get there. Water treatment plant improvements. We like to focus on how water is being made. What are the efficient ways to make sure that we make water, drinking water? So we reduce the waste in production, improve pumping efficiency. We certainly look to automate and optimize the water treatment process wherever possible. And with our services programs, we tie in remote alarming and diagnostics so you know things that you need to do in the plant to keep it operating efficiently. Same thing for wastewater treatment plants. We're not the chemistry guys. I'm not the guy who knows about the bugs, but we partner with other engineers in the room, and I know that there are other engineering companies here, to do the chemical side of the wastewater treatment process to make sure that we're making sure that we meet those requirements on solids and dissolved solids. But at the same time, how do we make sure that we do that process efficiently from an energy standpoint? Lighting. Again, LED lighting is a big deal, and it's been a big deal. Our lighting business is about a $4 to $5 million a year business. We internalized our lighting business. We used to work with subcontractors to do our lighting process. We realized it's more cost effective to bring it in-house so we can pass those savings on and a more efficient delivery of lighting systems. And so it also allows us to capitalize on the buying power of Ingersoll Rand and Trane. We have direct buying relationships with GE, Cree, Sylvania, a lot of the big ones. But ultimately, when you look at lighting and street lighting technology, there's a lot of benefits that could be realized by going to this technology. You see the picture at the bottom that shows an environment that is more attractive, certainly somewhere where you'd want to be. But from a public safety standpoint, it allows the police and fire to have more easily readily identifiable colors, being able to see license plates on cars when things are going on. You can't hide in hiding spaces. So it creates a great safety factor opportunity for the cities that we work with. So in summary, guaranteed energy savings and guaranteed performance, that's what a performance contract does. It addresses facility needs while preserving the capital funds that you have in your local government or your business. Reduce utility and operating costs. Address deferred maintenance. That's one of the big things that we deal with. We've got a lot of problems that we need to address in our local community. How do we pay for getting that done? And this becomes a vehicle to do that. But you end up with an improved building environment. We obviously try to make sure that we focused on being green in what we do. You'll see in the next slide, we are very focused on how do we communicate that you're doing a good job on your carbon footprint with our dashboards that we produce. We want to make sure that we're good stewards of taxpayer money and that we are transparent using those dashboards, sometimes in city halls, sometimes in classrooms and in school buildings, but certainly letting everybody see the investments that are being made and how the entity that has made them is performing. And then again, sustainability, sustainability, sustainability. We got to sustain the improvements that we make in the process. This is just a quick snapshot of one of the dashboards, but you can see when we're looking at energy on a real-time basis, what we're really trying to do is make sure we're limiting demand. We're not imposing too much demand on the system. And that way, those costs for demand are not only reduced, but it puts less strain on the utility companies in providing power. But also it's a great energy savings opportunity. These are These are customizable. We do them in-house. And Bobby, are you going to talk about, the West Liberty project? So we did a dashboard for them that basically, he'll talk more about that. And then finally, everything I just talked about was for the public sector. I wanted to talk about what is performance contracting for the private sector. Our company was involved in pushing legislation with Frost Brown Todd in getting energy project assessment districts enacted. So this now becomes an opportunity where commercial business, private sector businesses can pay for energy efficient upgrades and pay for that on their property tax assessment. So often you have buildings that are languishing because there's no investment in them, downtown urban cores, wherever it might be. Well, somebody might want to come in and put a business there, but the cost to get the systems updated, the windows, the lighting, all of that improved, nobody wants to spend money on that. They want to spend money on the things that are attractive for the business. Here's a way to do that. Here's a vehicle to do that. And this is the process where basically a property owner will go to a local entity to approve assessment. We help them with the development of that assessment. The property owner gets funding, and we help to secure funding. The contractor is hired, that's us. We do the work to make a building green. As you can see, the lighting on that is green, the picture. The municipality collects the revenues on the property tax assessment, makes the payments to the bank, and then in the end, you have owners with a much bigger smile because now they're in a building that is energy efficient, it's been paid for on their property tax assessment. You talked about the industrials in the short time frame that they have. A lot of other businesses are the same way. They need to see a shorter payback before they'll make an investment. Here's one way to stretch that out so that now it can be a 20-year investment. Bobby?
Who here has heard of USDA's Rural Energy for America program grants? Besides the basic folks. We have been working for the last 5 years, my business partner and I, Jason DeLam, to help small businesses take advantage of this program. To be eligible, you either have to be a farmer, and your business has to, if you are designated as a farmer, have to have 51% of your operation come from agriculture income, or a small business is defined by the SBA. Now, some businesses, you can have 500 employees. Some places like banks, as Anthony mentioned, the Commercial Bank of West Liberty, they had, the limit is like $37.5 million in gross revenue to be considered a small business. And if you meet that criteria, there are 2 cycles per year. Well, let me back up. You can use this funding program to pay 25% of the cost of any renewable energy or energy efficiency project. And you can see the different types, and we've talked about most of them today, different types of programs that can be funded through this operation. There are also other USDA loan programs that will help you. MESA has some programs that can work with you, and so there's a variety of financing mechanisms to help you underwrite the cost of renewable energy or energy efficiency projects. It can be a very small project, $2,500 on the renewable side, as well as $1,500 on that side, and can go up to $500,000. So since it's paying 25% of the cost, that's a $2 million solar project that can be submitted for application. And on the energy efficiency side, it can be $250,000 in gross project size or grant size for a total of $1 million. We have helped about 40 companies in the last 5 years get almost $2 million in grants from USDA. One that Anthony mentioned about Commercial Bank of West Liberty, we got them $100,000 when their bank was destroyed by a tornado, and they built back a LEED Gold bank. And the project that Anthony mentioned is we worked with Harshaw Trane to put in an energy efficiency education dashboard, not only to monitor the geothermal and the operation itself in the bank, but also to monitor remotely 4 units of a apartment complex that was destroyed in the tornado, built back energy efficiency with Energy Star appliances. And most excited, thanks to an ARC grant, this project was funded, is that we were able to put solar on 2 Habitat for Humanity homes. And it was so exciting to see that homeowner when she got her April bill, and it said 0 bill usage and 267 kilowatts went back to the grid. It was designed in a way that hopefully at the end of 12 months, she'll have no energy costs related to that. The other thing I want to mention here, there's 2 cycles. There'll be one in October, usually around the end of October, and next March for you to submit applications. If the project size is 50,000, project size is 50,000 or greater, we can help you. We think we have a very cost-effective way to create a win-win for the client. We also have, through a grant from USDA and working with Berea College, to help subsidize an energy audit. One of the first things you really need to do is find out what you're consuming and figure out what different opportunities there may be to save money. So we have a program that we can provide a 75% of the subsidy. So let's say a $2,000 energy audit is only going to cost the client $500. And so we like to combine those projects together to help. We've got currently about 6 more currently that we can fill, but we're going to be going for a bigger grant next year to hopefully do 25 or 40 more of those. Here's an example, renewable energy. This particular project had a $148,000 total cost. They got a $20,000 REAP grant and used funds from their bank, local bank, and they were able to save 30 to 40% of their operating costs by moving to a renewable energy portfolio. I often talk about, the idea is I'm not advocating that you replace all your energy consumption with renewable energy, but I am saying that you ought to diversify. You should have part of it. Does anybody put all their money in one stock? You want to diversify that because as we talk today, energy costs are going to continue to increase. Energy efficiency. Here's a couple of small projects. A rural manufacturer, grocery store.
Modern action films, they spend a lot of time thinking.
They're saving 50% of their lighting bill. We've worked with some folks in Isom, Kentucky, and Harlan County, and they're seeing dramatic drops in their energy costs. And with the economy and the challenges that they're facing, they need all the help they can get to manage their business. Now, I'm just going to touch, because we're really running out of time, I'm just going to hit some highlights of a couple of things here real quick, including cost segregation and tax incentives. In 2005, IRS Code 179, if you are going to replace your HVAC, you can get 60 cents a square foot off your taxes for that replacement. And lighting, 60 cents a square foot, and building envelope, insulation, and other things. Save $1.80 per square foot if you install things that are going to meet the ASHRAE standards of 2001. We've talked about a little bit here the renewable energy tax credit. So right now, we don't know how long this renewable energy tax credit is going to last, but right now, if you put in solar or geothermal, you can get a 30% right off the top on your taxes this year with that particular investment. You combine that with a REAP grant, all of a sudden, it's a very expensive transition to renewable energy. All of a sudden, you've got a really cost-effective way to change your business operation. Cost segregation, I'm going to mention the concept, is one of our associates worked with Philips Lighting for 2 years and went in and worked with companies to identify how their structure was set up. And what I mean by that is by doing an engineering study of a building. Let's say we bought a building for $1 million, and the IRS lets us depreciate that building over 39 years. But does anybody think the roof's going to last 39 years? The lighting's not, the HVAC stuff, all that stuff doesn't last that long. But with an engineering study and the CPA helping you navigate the tax law, they can come in and sometimes save you a whole lot of money. Take, for example, apartment complex, an auto dealer, healthcare facilities. Now, it has to be a for-profit to be paying taxes for this kind of model to work, but all of a sudden you can see that through this tax strategy, you can save significant amounts of money. Now, we pitch this in the context, you can spend the money on whatever you want, but we pitch it in the context of how do you save money so that you can invest that in energy savings to get that ongoing return on your investment. So one example is you have a decorative lighting system. Say you're in a car dealership. You know those big bright lights that make those cars jump off the floor? Those things are very, very expensive. Well, if you're redesigning a car dealership room, all you need to do is put two 2x4 lights in the roof or in the ceiling. You don't even have to turn them on. That becomes base lighting, and you can depreciate the very expensive lights over 5 to 7 years. Again, dramatically reducing the cost of that operation. So with that, Anthony covered the EPAD. I want to really encourage those of you to go back to your communities and look at that. If you're, we've got them in Bowling Green, Louisville, Covington, where Bellevue, and a couple of other small states. But this is a great way to, again, finance the cost over the life of the project, 15 to 25 years, and the savings you're going to save each year will be more than the tax bill that you get at the end of the year from the PBA or county clerk's office.